How much does 5 minutes mean to you? My name is Adam. This is Questions for Change. Let's go. Just a little side note before we get into the video. My video is going to be a little less scripted moving forward. I think it's gonna feel a little bit more natural. I'm going to have a lot more fun doing it that way. So yeah, expect that from future videos. Now to start the video, if you can't make 5 minutes a day happen, just literally just 5 minutes a day happen, then you need to start thinking about things you can hack away from your life that you're currently doing. Let's just get right into it. Number one, if you want to improve your motivation, your self-discipline, your focus, whatever, you're just going to start your self-improvement journey today. Welcome to the starting line. Make your bed. I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound like your mother or anything, but just do it. It's going to help you immensely down the road. It's one of those things that you spend not even 5 minutes, you'll spend like 2 minutes doing it. And that 2 minutes has way more of an impact than you can even imagine. The biggest thing that you get from it is the discipline. It's a good place to start from self-improvement in general, but the discipline is really the biggest factor of this. It sounds really small and really stupid, but any little bit amount of discipline that you gain helps immensely down the road. So because you become more disciplined by doing this, for example, tasks will start to become a little bit easier. Tasks that you don't want to do, stuff that you will naturally procrastinate on, stuff that you will naturally just hate, you just despise, you can't stand doing like these certain things, becomes a little bit easier. You're a little less stressed about it too. You're not quick to react in such a negative manner or dread it or anything like that. It just becomes easier, and that really eliminates brain fog too later on in the day. Like you're not thinking about it as much. You're not weighing your mind down as much. This all sounds totally crazy coming from just making your own bed, but trust me, try it for a few weeks. You'll notice you will notice a little improvement. It'll be very subtle, but it makes a huge difference each day. Well, the second big habit I would recommend you do, especially in the morning, to really help set up for the rest of your day is journaling. And it's way easier than people make it out to be, way easier than you think it is. It really is as easy as saying 5 minutes. And that's no bullshit. That's not something that, you could obviously, I found myself getting more and more into it as I was doing it, day to day, week to week, and I find myself doing it for much longer than 5 minutes in a lot of cases, and I enjoy it. And much like making your own bed, really helps. It really helps you. I mean, even just showing up to do it, right? Just showing up to do it would build discipline in itself, but it's also just good. It can be used as a tool in many different ways to provide many different kinds of benefits, depending on the journal that you're doing, right? So you have the 5 minute journal, you have a memory journal, a distraction journal, just a brain dump, not even a journal. You're just dumping your thoughts onto paper. What I typically do most of the time is the 5 minute journal, and I'll leave a link to that down below. It's the most common, I think, at least from what I've seen for the most part. But it's really, really super effective, super quick. You write a couple things down, 2 or 3 things down that you're grateful for right off the bat. Positive, getting yourself into a positive mindset in the morning especially. You can write, and then you write 2 or 3 things that would make today great. Thinking, again, just influencing that positive attitude right before you go into work or school or whatever you're doing that day. Even if it's the weekend, it makes you feel good. That it makes you feel productive, it makes you feel positive throughout the day. And then you can jot down a few daily affirmations is what, they call it, again, bringing out something positive aspects of yourself that you may not think about as often, or you might take for granted, or you might even deny, depending on, how bad of a mood you might be in that day. But, just words of encouragement. And that kind of stuff goes a long way. And if you have an extra 5 minutes, what I like to do at the end of that day or early the next day is reflect on that day. reflect on what happened. What were some of the cool things that happened, and what were some things I could improve upon? And you can look at that, at the end. I kind of read through my journal entries throughout the entire week and kind of look at that section like that. What can I improve upon for next week? And you'll note it'll only take a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks. You'll start noticing a big difference just in your attitude and your mindset going into the day. Number 3 on this list for me is meditation. Something that I never thought that I would ever be able to get into myself. It's really hard to sit there and do nothing. Although that's not what meditation actually is. I never understood that. I never understood sitting there and just doing nothing. That's not really what it actually is. More specifically, I'm talking about mindful meditation. There's a ton of different types of meditation. I haven't done anything other than mindfulness meditation. It seems to be the most common for the most part. This seems to be the most helpful, especially, and one that does not require that much time. You'll see a lot of people say that you kind of have to do it for like 20 to 30 minutes or even an hour. Luckily, you really do only need like 5 minutes a day, even less than that sometimes, just to clear your head. And that's really what it's about. It's not just about sitting there and trying your best to do nothing. Think about one particular thing. In this case, with mindful meditation, it's either your breath and or like your body, just noticing things. And it's not meant to, you're not meant to sit there and try to block thoughts out of your way. I guess you're trying to like overwrite the thought or something, with something that you're focusing on. And the whole point of this is to increase your focus and your mindfulness. And again, these are like 2 qualities that are like severely overlooked for some reason. I didn't realize how much of a difference improving your focus and just like my mindfulness, just a little bit, how much of a difference it would make. Because you're more focused and you're more mindful, you're actually relieving stress and anxiety as a result of that, because you're not thinking about, you're not caught up in negative moments for as long, because you notice it. You notice when you're starting to feel a certain way. You notice when you're starting to get distracted. That's like the biggest thing for me. After a few weeks of doing this meditation, only just for, like I said, 5 minutes a day, I start noticing when I become distracted, and I can stop it. I'm in control. At least I get that decision. That's really the big aspect, the big positive aspect of meditation, at least for me. And I think it can help you out a lot. You also just tend to have less bad days, less negative experiences, because you when you're caught in those moments, you tend to stop and think about it now. You become more aware. You really just take a step back and think about what you're doing and why it's important. And a lot of times, since you can choose the way you react in those situations, you can avoid having a victim mindset, which is another big deal. You start asking yourself stuff like, am I really getting pissed off about this? Like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, why? What am I doing? And it's really good and really helpful to notice those things, at least in my opinion. The final habit I have for you guys is memory training. And I think this is a little less commonly brought up. Memory training was actually the first thing that I started with on my self-improvement journey, realistically. Yeah, I was making my bed a little bit here and there, but memory training had the most impact, and I had the most interest in it at the time. I won't get into it too much because there's, again, similar to the others, there's a ton of different resources on it. I'll leave some links down in the description below for you guys so you can check that out. Spending 5 minutes each morning or even at the end of your day training your brain is very, very helpful. And the prime benefit that I've noticed for myself at least, in my memory training each day is reduced brain fog, especially around that like 2 p.m. mark at work, where you just want to die. you don't want to do anything anymore. You're just like, you're just a zombie. You're just walking around not caring about anything anymore. And I find that training my brain each morning with little memory exercises actually really, really it helps push that further into the day. Instead of like after like, I think it was the first month or so after I started doing memory training, I pushed that like 2 p.m. mark to like 4 p.m. I started becoming I was more awake. I was able to be more productive for longer. And that's obviously hugely important for performance at, work or in school or anything like that. And you just feel better. Obviously, if you don't have brain fog, you feel better. So to kind of wrap this up, 20 to 30 minutes a day, give or take, walking in between each habit, can make an immense difference every morning. If you can carve out that 20 to 30 minutes each morning before you go to work, before you go to school, before you get your day started and whatever you're doing, it'll be very helpful for you. It'll only take a couple of weeks for you to actually see results. And again, check out some links down in the description below so you can get some, so you can have all the resources that you need on all of this stuff. Honestly, you could type in any of these in YouTube, Google, you'll get a ton of things on it. Let me know in a couple of weeks what you guys think, what your experiences were. If you guys want to try out some of these, you don't have to do all of them, but let me know if you've seen any difference or if I'm just full of shit and none of it worked. Let me know either way. And especially if you have tips for me, let me know. It would be really helpful and I would really appreciate it. And if you really like videos like this, please like the video, subscribe to the channel down below. And if you're one of the few subscribed to this channel, please let me know if you like the new format as well. See you guys soon.